Hello, everyone, and thank you for attending today's webinar, Resources for Chapter Events and Partnering with Headquarters, presented by Lesley Martinez at AMP. Next, please. Before we begin, we want to cover a few housekeeping items. All participants are muted. This session is being recorded and will be posted online. If you have any questions, please type them in the Q&A tab, and we will address those questions at the end of the presentation. This is an 8 weeks training series, and this is the 8th week. Without further delay, I would like to introduce Lesley Martinez, Manager of Conferences at AMP. Welcome, Lesley.
Thank you, Cindy. Hello, everyone, and good morning, or good afternoon for some of y'all. And as Cindy said, my name is Lesley Martinez, and I'm the Conferences Manager at AMP, and I've been with the organization for 10 years. I've worked all in the entire time in the conferences department and have worked on numerous events throughout the world. I also have a team of 2 specialists that some of you may know, Megan Leva and Reggie de Borja, that also assist with the events. And today I'm going to talk to you about what is a conference, why host a conference, why partner with headquarters, and what that process is, as well as how can a chapter host a conference. Now, what is a conference? Simplest definition of that is a formal meeting for discussion that includes programming. That programming can include, just one topic at a time or simultaneous topics, as well as exhibits. Exhibits can look like tabletop exhibits or something with hard walls. And then it also includes sponsorships and networking events. And the type of events that AMP hosts, we work on area regional conferences, for example, some domestic ones that we have, the AMP Central Conference or the AMP Eastern Conference. Both of those events are coming up in the next month. And then internationally, we have Latin Core. We've worked on Cortrin, as well as the East Asia Pacific Conference. And then we also do topical events. So topical events are typically a hot topic around a very specific issue. For example, we've done Bring on the Heat. We've also done the Pipeline Integrity Management Seminar in Latin America a few times. And then AMP Annual Conference and Expo. Myself and my department were responsible for putting on that event every year. So why host a conference? So one of the biggest reasons is content sharing. Share the latest ideas, technology, research, get into a room and discuss case studies, what's worked, what hasn't worked, just knowledge sharing. Okay. Also, chapters will host conferences to bring in revenue, and that revenue can be used for trainings for workers in the field of corrosion and coatings and materials protection, hosting committee meetings, lunch and learns, or even sponsoring students to participate in other AMP programs and events. And then lastly, networking with their peers and industry contacts, making new contacts, and reconnecting with longtime contacts. So why partner with headquarters? For one, history. Like I've said, we have worked domestically and internationally. Just within our department, with the seasoned staff, we have an average years of 7 years experience, and that's just within AMP. That does not include our experience that we had in previous organizations before joining the organization. But additionally, we have a history with our vendors, and we have negotiating power and able to get the best possible pricing for you. And then details. We take care of all the details in terms of the pre-event and on-site logistics, vendor relationships, contracting, promotions, selling, expense handling, something when you partner with headquarters that we manage all of the finances for you. And then lastly, mitigating risk. As a team, we are constantly evaluating the budget to make sure that the event is staying on track, and we evaluate whether we need to make adjustments or not. And in the unfortunate scenario, if an event needs to be canceled or postponed, again, that is evaluated with the committee. before any decision is made. And then we make sure to, communicate out to all parties that are involved, if that happens, if that needs to happen. So what is the process to partner with headquarters? As you can see here, I kind of have a train of items here, and I'll run through a couple of them at a time. So first off, submitting a proposal and the partnership agreement. So on my screen here, you'll see this left-hand side, you'll see the conference seminar workshop proposal form. And what that is a document that we ask for you to fill out just with the basics: who, what, when, and where. And then additionally, the subsequent pages include, why is this topic important to you and your attendee base, and how is it going to further the mission of AMP? You'll turn that in, and then internally, we will evaluate that as a team. We may ask you some additional questions just to get clarification, but it's to make sure that the event makes sense to have and that everyone is on the same page of how it's going to move forward. This form will be available on the chapter officer resources page in the future, so keep an eye out for that. And then once an event is approved, then we will work on the partnership agreement. As you can see on my screen, what I have is a sample for you. This lays out the roles and responsibilities of all parties, not just AMP headquarters, but also as the committee. Just because, because AMP, you may be partnering with AMP. Yes, we take care of a lot for you, but it's also vital for the committee to fulfill their responsibilities as well to ensure the success of the event. Okay. And then that agreement will also lay out the revenue share. And then next up, timeline, roles and responsibilities, budget creation and approval, as well as committee meetings. So on the screen, you see, this is a sample event guideline. What it includes basically high-level action items of things that need to take place so many months out from an event to ensure the success. And again, it lays out everything that needs to be done, not only by AMP headquarters, but also by the committee. Then we'll talk about, we'll work with the committee in terms of who's going to be the chair, the vice chair, program chair, any trainings that are going to be needed. Okay. Then after that, we will create a budget. Okay. What you can see is a sample budget. This includes, the audio visual, any rental fees, food and beverage. Again, I want to mention staff will manage all budget items and we will handle all payments for you. In rare cases, we may have to work with you on something else, but primarily we will handle all the finances. And something I do want you to note that when you partner with headquarters, we do pass along a cost savings because we do not charge for labor, nor do we factor in costs for our internal systems that we have that are used for the event. So something just wanted to point out to you. And then lastly, the committee meetings. AMP staff will work with you to set up kind of a meeting cadence where ideas are discussed, action items are created, and the reports are given. These are usually done monthly. And then as you start to get closer to the event, they tend to pick up either bi-weekly or weekly. It just depends on what the committee would like. Pre-event logistics, the fun part that we get to work on. So marketing, we build the website for you. We promote the event on AMP database and any other database that we may have access to. We do social media posts, ad creation and placement, remarketing campaigns. We take care of that for you. And we also will provide the committee with resources and to help spread the word to your contacts, whether that's emails, social media posts, or even letter templates. And then registration, we have our own in-house system that's used for the pre-event online registration, as well as we handle all the registration and check-in on site. We'll do exhibits and sponsorship management, where floor plans will be created. We'll create sponsorship packages. We'll work with the committee and our internal team to help sell those packages. We do invoicing, sourcing, procuring any of those sponsorship items. Contract negotiations with third-party vendors like venues, audiovisual companies, any kind of service provider, decorators, entertainment. And then we have our own in-house paper management system. So if a committee would like to do an open call for abstracts, we have that internal system that can be used to collect those. It's also used to collect any papers or presentations if you should have those. And then lastly, customer support. Our team of staff are available to help address any issues that come up, not only within conferences, but also we have the customer support team with AMP. And then we have event execution and post-event evaluation. So now it's showtime. AMP staff will handle all event logistics on site with the hotel or the venue that we're working with. We meet with them to make sure that everything is in order prior to the event. We ensure that rooms are set up properly, all the equipment is ordered and working, catering arrives on time, your shipment comes in. We handle all of that for you. Then we'll also set up and run registration, as I've said before, help get people checked in, manage any on-site registrations. And then we also, some other items is we upload the presentations to the laptops, we provide speaker bios. So hopefully, that is one less worry that your committee has to deal with. And then we handle any on-site issues that do arise. So what we ask of the committee on site is to help to run the program in terms of making sure the speakers stay on time and moderate the sessions. Okay, and then lastly, post-event evaluation. We will meet after the event with our internal team as well as key committee members to discuss, what went well, what didn't, what can be improved on in the future. We'll discuss survey results as well as the final financials. Now, let's say that you are a committee that you have the volunteer resources as well as the financial resources to host an event on your own. Something that I would like for you to keep in mind, particularly if you decide to host on your own, is to make sure that you do have the financial resources. Because when you work with vendors, they typically like payment upfront, regardless of whether you've started your event or not. And so regardless of whether you're accepting registrations or you've sold any sponsorships. So just make sure that you have the financial resources available to you if you decide to go that route. But if you do, we do have some services that are available to you in terms of hosting. So we can offer complimentary resources. Like I showed you the timeline earlier, we can also provide sample templates, whether it's invitation letters or exhibitor kits. We have some of those available for you. Later this fall, we're going to start monthly office hours with somebody from the conferences team where we'll have an hour available and you can call in and ask any kind of question that you may have. Also, listing your event on the amp.org calendar. There is a submission form for that. It's just a simple online submission form. Type in your information, it'll get posted. And then I believe what's been created by some of my other colleagues, and I believe this has been covered in some of the previous chapter trainings, are email scripts and then a chapter toolkit. That those items are coming soon, so please keep a lookout for that on your chapter resources page. And then lastly, contract review by staff. I do want to note that as part of your affiliation agreement, that you are required to have any third-party event services or contracts that are higher than 2,500 or hotel, convention, or event service. So venue contracts all need to be reviewed by AMP staff. So again, third-party event services, venue contracts, as well as contracts higher than $2,500 do need to be reviewed. You can send that to Cindy Tracy and she will pass it along to the appropriate staff for review. But again, that is per your affiliation agreement that needs to be done. That is complimentary. We don't charge that. Okay. So what are some services that we offer for a fee? There is a marketing package that is being created. Zulema, I believe, briefly covered that in the last training that we had. But just an example of a paid opportunity are ad placements, either in Materials Performance or Coatings Pro. We can offer those to you at a discounted price. If you're interested in those opportunities, you can reach out to marketing@amp.org for more information. And then some other services that we have, registration services. So like I said, we have our own internal system that is connected to the AMP database. So you can do pre-event registration through us. So you use our online system as well as our customer support team if people decide to call in. On-site equipment and logistics. So we will set it up for you, manage check-in and on-site registration. We can handle all that for you. Then we also have the paper management. That is another option. The abstract submission portal, we'll collect, if you decide to have papers and presentations, we can collect those. And then in the end, we'll provide a digital copy of those papers and presentations that you can use to give to your conference attendees. Okay. And then exhibitor management. There's also that option where we have a team member that will help build and maintain your floor plan. They can invoice and collect payments as well as work with contract service providers for you. Okay. As you can see, it does say prices vary, and that's because it's just a matter of what you need in terms of those services. Okay. So prices will vary. Some individuals want the whole shebang, if you will, or the entire exhibitor management piece, or some they just need a couple pieces. Okay. And so we'll work that out with you. But if you are interested in learning more about partnering or any of these services, please do not hesitate to reach out. My information is on the screen. Again, Lesley.Martinez@amp.org. I am available for you if you would like to talk more. And with that, I will turn it over to Cindy for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Lesley. We will go ahead and start with some questions. The first one is, how can AMP work on an event if you are not based locally?
That's a good question. As I've mentioned, we have a history of working domestically and internationally, as well as we have a history with our vendors. And a lot of our vendors actually work all over the US as well as all over the world. And so they're able to put us in contact with individuals locally, as well, within the venues that we have numerous contacts that can help us take care of events within wherever they're located. I will say this, since I've been with the organization, I would say 95% of the events that I have run are outside of Houston. So we primarily work outside of the cities where we're at. So it's very easy for us to work really anywhere in the world, as long as they use internet or the phone. Thank you, Cindy.
Okay, the next question is, can we partner with headquarters and another association?
Absolutely. This is something that we have seen, particularly internationally, where there is another local association that may have more contacts and that can help bring in more speakers or sponsors and events. Just as an example, I want to say in 2021, for the East Asia Pacific virtual conference, we partnered with the area as well as ACA, the Australasian Corrosion Association. So yes, that is absolutely possible. And we can work out what that looks like based on what all parties are responsible for.
Thank you, Lesley. We have another question. What is the cost sharing structure when partnering with headquarters? If a range, please provide the range.
Yes, so the cost sharing structure, right now what we have is a 60-40 split. So 60% will go to AMP and then 40% will go to the chapter. Now, there are other opportunities within that for the chapter to actually gain additional percentage. But right now, that is what the range is. Again, it's going to depend on what all the chapters are or what the chapter is responsible for. But currently, that is the range.
Okay, the following question is, would headquarters event team consider partnering with a chapter for a short course or a one-day event?
Yes, absolutely. We are happy to work with short courses and events. that is something that we are definitely open to. I know we've had staff that have attended previous short courses, whether it was the one in Morgantown or the Purdue short course. Several of our team members have actually attended those in the past. So yes, we're happy to work with those events. Those type of events, if you will.
Okay, the next one is, does headquarters provide online registration similar to Event Candy and other?
I know of Event Candy. I'm not familiar with their system, but yes, we do offer online registration, and it is connected to the AMP database. So if somebody is an AMP member or they have an AMP profile, it just connects to their profile, makes the registration pretty easy. If they don't have a profile, it's a few extra minutes to create that and then take care of them. But yes, we do have that online registration. I do want to say too, is that some individuals prefer to call in. And if you utilize us for registration, then they'll also have the option to call into our customer support team and take care of the registration that way as well.
Thank you, Lesley. The following question is, hosting a central or eastern size conference, what is the general profit on what the chapter would get?
Ooh, general profit. That's a really good question. A lot of that too is going to depend on where the event is located and if that's an expensive city and all the other extras that they may do. I would say in the last 2 years, for Central and for Eastern, that the range that I have seen with my team has been anywhere between $15,000 to $20,000 net just for the chapter.
Thank you. The following question is, we will soon hold a networking event, cocktail for 100 members of our chapter. Everything is already organized. Do we need to notify you?
If everything, I'm assuming that's in relation to the contract overview. It wouldn't hurt to notify us, especially if you want the event up on the event calendar. I would still encourage you for the contracts. I realize that the contracts have already been executed. I would encourage you to share that with us just for us to do a quick review. But yes, it wouldn't hurt. Like I said, you can promote that on the amp.org calendar. So that's one reason to do it too.
The following question is, if a chapter hosts a conference, are the officers for that chapter automatically the conference committee?
That is a really good question. And no, not necessarily. We actually encourage chapters to reach out to members within other chapters. This can help kind of bring a diversity to the programming as well as the attendees. So no, that does not automatically mean that a chapter officer is a committee lead. In fact, we encourage you to bring in committee members that are willing and able to do it. We don't like to see that somebody has been voluntold, if you will, because they tend to not be very active, or they tend to be apathetic. So we prefer that you look at recruiting individuals that are wanting to be on the committee and not necessarily told they have to be.
Thank you, Lesley. And thank you everyone for attending this webinar. For additional questions, please bring these over to the community of interest and we will be answering your questions there. We also want to let you know that all of the recordings can be found online on the officer resource page. A survey will go out next week to all chapter officers. Please provide us with your feedback so we can improve the officer training series for you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.